Thank you so much for coming through, Mr. Cruz. Let's talk about this situation around these unemployment figures. What do they reveal about our human capital as a country? Does the fact that the skills that we are producing don't always match what the economy demands, to what extent does that account for the high unemployment figures that we see and the low absorption of labor that we see in our economy?
Okay, I think there are two other issues that we need to bear in mind, and the fact is that the figures that you mentioned are true, but if you look at the people who are not interested in finding jobs anymore, then for youth it has grown up to 66%. Bear now in mind that within 60 days, that figure will go up by another 500,000 of people who are entering the job market. So the situation is quite tragic. Coming back to our human capital, we don't produce enough people in the technical fields. Our research at the HR think tank shows that if you compare South Africa with countries like Germany, the Scandinavian countries, Switzerland even, then we invest too little in technical skills. Our TVET colleges are underinvested. We have two problems there. We have an infrastructure problem, it's not up to date, and at the same time a systemic problem. We have a problem on the managerial leadership side. So the investment that's been done by government in TVET colleges is not getting through to the learners that enters the colleges.
So when you hear government talking about how to turn this economy around, they're talking about industrialization, the reindustrialization of the economy, and talking about manufacturing, but also always emphasizing agriculture. When you then look at what we produce as a country, does it match that? Those particularly, I know we can always match all the various sectors in the economy, but if these three are among our top priorities, are we producing enough, for example, people who are competent in agriculture and farming, and people who would be able to work in manufacture of various light and heavy, in various light and heavy manufacturing industries?
I think there are two things. We should look at this against the background of the fourth industrial revolution, where we see the impact of robotics, automation, and especially in the formal sector in your established industries. I mean, at the Job Summit, the motor car industry announced massive investments. But we must bear in mind that the motor car industry is almost totally automated today. So it's not really going to create the jobs that we are looking for. So you're absolutely right. Agriculture provides a fantastic opportunity for creating jobs, but that is in the informal sector more than in the formal sector. So if we can upskill our emergent farmers quick enough, we can create thousands of jobs. So we need more agricultural colleges where we can train emergent farmers. And at the same time, a point I want to make now, and that's from the research that we do at the HR think tank, is that tourism should actually be our main emphasis. We can very quickly, we can invest a lot of money in the marketing of our country to attract more visitors to the country. There are very few countries that can offer the combination of the beauty and the affordability at the moment of what South Africa offers. And if you look at the total value chain of tourism, from hotels straight through to retail, motor car hiring, tour operators, it can create a few million jobs over a very short period of time. The other opportunity is to invest more in education infrastructure. We hear every single day of schools with pit latrines, with a lack of classrooms and so on. We can actually, with very little investment, create a lot of jobs by just upgrading those facilities. And it can be done very quickly. We don't want to land a man on the moon. We can, to upgrade a school, add another 5 classrooms is quick.
It's quite interesting that you mentioned tourism, because it is one of those sectors that government has sort of identified, particularly in the efforts around the stimulus and growth package, as well as the infrastructure that you're talking about. So very interesting coincidence there. But another theme that I want to tease out with you has to do with cooperation between government, labor, and business. I guess the investment summit was a good example of the kind of cooperation that's possible, and some of the work that has been done with the various CEOs of the various companies. But is it enough?
Well, let's look at against the World Economic Forum's Global Competitiveness Index. The last one showed that South Africa, when it comes to government-business relationships and business-labor relationships, we were among the worst in the world. So any summit where these parties are coming together should be applauded. It builds trust, and it shows that we have a common goal and that we are willing to work together to improve the situation. So obviously it has to be applauded. I think we mustn't expect too much over the short term. The outcomes are really focusing more on medium to longer term outcomes, which is necessary. We need that long-term confidence to come back to our economy.
But you also did a survey of some 85 leaders of business, of various businesses around the country. Yes. I'm actually surprised that there are some who are reluctant to cooperate with government.
Okay, now here's the thing. That survey was done among 85 executives throughout the country. That was done before we had the Job Summit and the Investment Summit. Obviously, that would have had an impact on the results. So over 40% of the people that we surveyed indicated that there's no difference between in the relationship than it was before. And being before is before the President Ramaphosa came to power. But 92% of the people that we surveyed indicated that they are willing or very willing to cooperate with government in terms of rebuilding the economy and to create a better society at large. So that's quite positive, I believe.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming through. Willem Cruz from HR Think Tank, talking to us about issues to do with the skills situation in the economy and trying to deal with the situation of unemployment, but also talking to us about the importance of cooperation in all of that between government, labor and business.